Hi there, welcome to the Tips for Tasks screencast. In this video I'm going to share everything I've learned about Google Tasks, which is one of the apps within our Google Apps suite. Now I've only been using Google Tasks for the last 2 or 3 months. Before that, a little bit hit and miss. I haven't been as consistent as I want to be, but the more I use it here lately, the more I like it. So of course, I kind of feel like I may not have discovered every feature about Google Tasks. So if there's some aspect of this that I miss in this screencast that you know about, feel free to email me or post a comment in the comment section below. So I'm in my Gmail right now, of course. Look on the far right, you'll see some icons you might not have noticed before. A little checkbox right here for Google Tasks. Let me close that for a sec here. And go to my Calendar tab. Look, it's there too. Go to my Google Drive tab. And there it is as well. Go to my Google Keep tab. And strangely, it's not here in Google Keep, and I don't know why. If you don't know what Google Keep is, well, that's another screencast. I'm over here in a sheet that I use quite often, and there it is there too, as well as in a Google Doc. So it's here in a few different areas throughout the Google suite. So back to my Gmail. Let's say I've got a email message open, and let's say that Sherry's message about today's meeting mentions a presentation on Google Tasks. Oh, well, I better get off my can and get that done. So one thing I could do to create a task within Google Tasks is, yeah, I could do it manually over here, but when you have an email message open, notice these icons up here. Now, you might have remembered me referencing these icons up here in a previous session, or remember these 3 dots where you can create an event. But let's back up over here to this button right here, Add to Tasks. What happens if I click that? It creates a new task that automatically generates the title of the task referencing the title of the email. So I can adjust that if I want to. Maybe I will go ahead and entitle it. And so as I flip through other emails now, let's say I'm done with this one for now, and I go to others. While I've still got my tasks up here, I can click this little automatically created button, and that shows up, and that brings up the email message referencing the task from which I created the task. Let's say I need to work on this task here regarding Moodle 3.1, etc., etc., etc. I click this button, and it brings up that email. Now, does that work over in a Google Doc, let's say, or one of the other areas? I also see this button here. Why, yes, it does. Very interesting. So one aspect that I use from when I am within a Google Doc or a Google Sheet, etc., etc., I might want to add some context. Let's just pretend that this document has something to do with this task that I'm working on. If I need to add some context into the little task up here, if I want, I can click Details here and either copy and paste from here into the Details area, or I could type something in. So that's been helpful for me. I also want to get this task done on a certain date and time, so I can click here and indicate a date in the future. Let's say I want it done by this date, maybe at a given time, and I can click OK. Now look what happens when I go to my calendar. What was that date, June 18th? It isn't on there until I enable my tasks calendar. Look at that. Yeah. One other aspect of tasks, let me just go ahead and, why not, go back to my Gmail tab, of course. One other aspect is, let's just bring up this one regarding the Verba Connect configuration. I've got a few steps within this overall task. So the overall task is configuring this Verba thing, whatever it is, you don't care. But I can also add a subtask, meaning, so let's say that there's multiple steps within this process, which for this one there is for me. I can check those off as I complete them, little step by step by step. Speaking of checking things off as I get them done, the task for this video is up here. I can mark it as complete. I can see my completed tasks down here at the bottom. And technically this video is not done yet, so I can mark it as incomplete, and it shows back up on my list. Now that represents most of the details of what I've learned about tasks so far, which might seem overly simplistic, but to me, as an overarching benefit to my workflow, let's say, it helps me keep track of things that I need to be paying attention to without having to remember something within a given email message. I know we've all found ourselves doing a search for an email that has a particular word or phrase in it somewhere. We got to remember that somehow to get back to that message. Well, again, the way that, let's say this one here, the way that Google Tasks works to bring context into it, into a little snapshot view, let's say a bulleted list view, that references and can bring up that email message right there without you having to go search for it and find it, because sometimes when you're searching for an email message you just can't find it. It doesn't seem to be there. It's in there somewhere, of course, but you just can't find it. So if you think it's something you want to be able to track, especially on an ongoing basis, or just be able to reference, oh, I don't need this now, but I'm going to need it next week when I do this one thing. If you make it a task, it appears in this list, from which, again, you can click that handy button right there and bring that message up. So that has been a big benefit to me, and I'm glad I'm getting deeper into Google Tasks now. And yes, since you're just about to ask, there is a mobile app for Google Tasks. But that's probably going to be another screencast. So again, if you see something, or if you know something that I missed in this video, feel free to share it, and I will adjust this video and include it for everyone. The link to the video will remain the same, and you can reference it anytime you need. So I hope you enjoyed this screencast on Google Tasks, tips for tasks. Have a great day, and stay well.